Hey folks, how's it going? Dr. Spin, eclectic album reviews and general musical meanderings. This post finds us in the wake of the passing of Eddie Van Halen, which is a devastating blow to the musical world, especially if you're of my generation. Probably as devastating to the world of guitar as the loss of Neil Peart was to drums earlier this year. And so many of us music fans are kind of in a state of mourning for this. Eddie Van Halen was an extremely visible figure for a lot of us in our youth, and really played a huge role in redefining what electric guitar was capable of. So I thought really hard about how I wanted to approach paying tribute to Eddie Van Halen. Although I'm not a guitar player, I have a great deal of respect for him as a musician and for an innovator on the instrument. And so I realized that I've never done any real serious look at the David Lee Roth era of Van Halen. You know, I did a 5150 post last year, but I have the entire, first 6 albums of Van Halen with David Lee Roth, and have never really looked at them super duper close. So I decided to go ahead and do a series going forward, after just finishing my last Brilliant series on the period of Van Halen's history where David Lee Roth was the lead singer. So in order to kick that off, I'm starting off with Van Halen 1. And this wasn't my entry point for the band. Like a lot of people, I got into Van Halen from 1984, but found my way back through their catalog slowly but surely. Now, I have a connection with this album. It's one of my favorite Van Halen albums. I think that if you own any Van Halen album, you should start with 1984, and step number 2 should be Van Halen 1. But I wanted to make it a little bit of a special occasion because although I have a lot of respect and love for Van Halen 1, I wanted to make sure that, I allowed some space for people who are real fans of Eddie Van Halen to maybe give some space to talk. So I decided to bring on a guest commentator, a good friend of mine from high school named Jose Estrada, and he is probably the biggest Van Halen fan I know. He's been dealing with the loss of Eddie for the past week or so, and I invited him to come on and just kind of give me some guest commentaries, a little bit of insight on Van Halen 1. Van Halen, let's talk about Van Halen 1.
All right.
My entry point was 1984. Mm-hmm. As was for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But my family was very religious. I ended up getting Van Halen 1 was my first foray outside of 1984. And of course, that's the one with Running with the Devil on it. So when I made that album, I duped it from somebody and I left Running with the Devil off on purpose. And then I had the last track. I think I put it on one side of a 30-minute cassette. So I also cut off the last track on Fire, I'm on Fire. So the first thing I heard on Van Halen 1 was always Eruption.
Yes.
Yes. Which I was at the time, it's not really a terrible place to start.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, Eddie was just warming up, practicing his guitar solo that he was going to be playing for the weekend. And Ted goes, "What's that?" And Ed goes, "Hey, no, it's just a guitar solo I do." And Ted Templeman yells at Don Landy, the engineer, and says, "Roll tape." And Don Landy yells back, "I've been rolling tape."
His tapping technique, which is what he kind of came to be known for, he wasn't the first person to do it, and he'll openly admit that. But he was definitely like the guy that brought it out and kind of based his style of soloing on it, became like his signature thing. And really you hadn't heard anybody do it like he did it on Eruption. That he just could employ it as anything. Whenever he was playing, he would just throw it in there and come back out.
Yeah, most people used it as a trick, to where with him, that's the way he played. It was part of him. It was part of his DNA.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I remember an interview in '88 with Kurt Loder, And Kurt Loder asked him, hey, so, what do you think about all these people, that do all this finger tapping now? He goes, it's kind of cool. It's kind of flattering, but it's like somebody stealing your car and then showing up and saying, hey, how you like my new ride?
Yeah.
Not only the wizardry of Eddie Van Halen, I mean, with Michael and Alex and with David Lee. David Lee just brought a personality. I mean, you could hear it in the lyrics. You could hear it in the way he sang.
Nobody can really do what David Lee Roth did because he wasn't as much a vocalist, but he was a stylist and certainly an entertainer. Oh,
most definitely. I mean, if you've ever seen Van Halen perform, he wasn't there to sing. He was there to host the party.
Yeah,
is what it was. It was, a Van Halen concert was a giant party, and they were the hosts, and that's what it was. And at that time in the '70s, with the rock world, and then Eddie Van Halen comes on the scene, and it's all smiles, and he's playing guitar and smiling at the camera, and David Lee Roth just got his strut going. And they just changed everything for rock and roll at the time with that.
And that's something I think a lot about with Van Halen too, is that how unique their style was. They were not a metal band. They were really a pop band. They weren't even really. They were a hard rock band. You could say that, but really, like if you think about hard rock, you're talking about like Black Sabbath and Dee Snider and those kinds of guys. They were absolutely their own beast.
Totally.
And,
it was just great American music that you could take anywhere. I mean, the stuff that Ted Templeman did as a producer for that. I mean, if you listen to Atomic Punks and you hear that swishing of the phaser at the beginning of that song, it was he just happened to be walking by and Eddie's just checking his pedals to see if they work, and he's rubbing the strings and he's like, "What's that?" Well, it's just my phaser pedal. And so let's throw it on tape. I mean, it's amazing stuff.
Yeah. And Ted Templeman, especially, we were talking about that first album. He was very smart about trying to keep it as live as possible. He knew that was their thing.
I mean, there are like no overdubs on that album. Yeah,
there's not a whole lot of overdubs. There are some, but they're very sparse and they're very intentional. Why he uses them, like this, like the Jamie's Crying. There's a thing where there's the melody and the rhythm guitar part that
where you have to have.
You kind of have to have it.
Can't express enough how important Michael Anthony's voice, the super high harmonies. I mean, I've seen, and I posted the meme, to where it's got David Lee Roth and it's got Sammy Hagar, and it's like, but this guy is the voice of Van Halen, and it's Michael Anthony.
Yeah. So this is the thing. Whenever I saw Van Halen, I saw him at 5150, and I was a bass player at the time. I was very, very Geddy Lee, a little snobby about the whole thing. Yeah. And so I saw Michael Anthony play a bass solo in which he pretty much just took the thing and like beat it with a hammer and whatever.
Sound effects all over the place.
Pouring Jack Daniels on his bass, whatever else. And so I was like, oh no, Michael Anthony. I was very like uppity about it. But dude, and this is where you hit it. He's a good bass player. He's functional. He can actually, if you listen closely, he can get around the thing. Okay, he's no slouch.
He switches both picks and fingers.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just as fast with his fingers as he is with the pick.
Yeah, and to be honest, he needs to be that way because Eddie's got to have some freedom. It's funny because Eddie has a really good. One of the things that's distinctive about Eddie's guitar playing in general is he's very, very clear about like harmony. Like you hear him use thirds. Guitar players generally don't. I mean, the power chord, the standard, right?
Feel Your Love Tonight. Has that. You hear that third. It starts out, and then on that one, you hear that third hit there.
But and I'll Run It With the Devil. Da 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 da.
Those inverted chords he just used. I mean,
But then whenever he solos, he's like, man, forget about heart. Sometimes he's just like,
exactly.
Okay, you just hold down the bass. Forget key. I'm just going to do my thing,
Exactly.
So it's good that Michael Anthony stayed out of the way in that way. But as you're saying, as a secret weapon, his voice is where it's at. Van Halen is a group that you can sing along with, right? They're songwriters. But I listened to Van Halen 1 and like almost 85% of what you would sing is what Michael Anthony's singing.
Oh, yeah.
He's got all the hooks, and then David Lee Roth is just like, doing his thing, And then, of course, it's the amazing thing, too, of him and Eddie actually can sing pretty well, too. So those two guys, like, it's classic, like almost a Beatles thing. They, like, share a microphone,
Exactly.
It's great because there's not many. That's another aspect of Van Halen that I think that people overlook. Like that, they had like that kind of chemistry, you know.
I mean, it was like the stars aligned just perfect at the right time, and that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest, of course, is music history.
Yeah.
I found the simple life, it's so simple. When I jumped out on that road, I got no love you'd call real. Ain't got nobody waiting at home. Running with the devil. God damn it, baby, no, I ain't lying to you. I'm only gonna tell you one time. Yes, I am. Yeah.
Being the age we were and thinking back, it's like, God, if only I could have seen that time, or if there was some kind, there's videos and stuff like that, but as you know, and I know, videos just don't do it justice.
Yeah.
And me being the fan that I am, I've got bootlegs of everything, and it's just the tone and the energy that they had in that era was just, I don't think it can ever happen again.
Yeah,
it never happened again, and I don't think it ever will happen again.
It's inimitable. You can't imitate it,
I have been for, it'll be a week tomorrow.
Yeah.
And, just, the day will come eventually, but it's just hard. It's just, no words. But I mean, that I am honored, and I thank you for asking me to do this.
Oh no, Jose, the honor's all mine. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with us. Your enthusiasm is infectious, and I really enjoy listening to you talk about Van Halen. Your love for him and for his music is really apparent, and I appreciate you taking the time to share it with us. This will be the first post in this series going forward on the David Lee Roth albums, as I said before. So the next one up will be Van Halen 2. I'll put a post up on that one in a couple of weeks. So if you want to know when that's going to happen, please like and subscribe and share this video out with your friends. I'll be putting Van Halen songs up over on my Spotify playlist for this year. So take a little time to go over there and check that out and follow that playlist. But next week I'll have something new, maybe something that I've just been kind of recently listening to. So until then, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. And it's all killer, no filler.